The story begins with a seemingly ordinary man living in what seemed like an equally unremarkable home. However, each night, like clockwork, a series of inexplicable events began to unfold. At exactly 3:17 a.m., a distinct knocking echoed throughout his walls. This unsettling midnight phenomenon marked the beginning of a true strange tale for our protagonist, plunging him into a nightmarish reality that defies logical explanation. Initially, he dismissed the sounds as nothing more than the errant settling of the house or perhaps an animal scurrying through the walls. Yet, as nights turned into weeks, the persistence of the knocking became a chilling routine that he couldn't ignore. The sounds seemed deliberate, almost as if trying to convey a hidden message or lure him out of his comfort zone. The significance of such events goes beyond mere coincidence, illustrating the unnerving possibility that our world might be more intertwined with the inexplicable than we care to admit. The time, 3:17 a.m., adds an eerie characteristic to the phenomenon, aligning with the traditional concept of the witching hour, when the boundary between the natural and supernatural is believed to be at its thinnest. This time frame stokes the imagination, inviting theories of spirits, restless souls, or even dimensions undefined by science as plausible explanations. For instance, a similar case occurred where a family in another town reported hearing footsteps and whispers at the same time every night. The resolution came only when they unearthed an antique clock hidden in their cellar that was chiming once a day at that specific moment, the sound reverberating through old vents. In another scenario, a former factory site, converted into apartments, saw multiple tenants complain about metallic tapping, which was eventually traced back to temperature-induced expansions of old steam pipes. Yet, even such rational explanations might not satisfy everyone. Some proponents of the supernatural would argue that the man's experiences might be a manifestation of lingering spirits tied to the house's past, testing the boundaries of what we perceive as reality. In contrast, skeptics might consider sleep disturbances or auditory hallucinations due to stress as potential culprits. The nightly knocks at 3:17 a.m. were not just random noise, but a profound catalyst that forced the man to re-evaluate his understanding of reality, blurring the lines between the conceivable and the fantastic, and connecting deeply with the age-old human curiosity about the unknown. The tale begins with an ordinary man living in a quiet suburb, who, until recently, enjoyed a peaceful life within his cozy home. However, everything changed the night that he first heard the peculiar knocking. It was a chilly winter's evening, the kind that invites a person to bury themselves deeper under the warmth of their blankets. As slumber crept in, he was abruptly awakened by a strange, rhythmic knocking sound. Strangely, each knock seemed to resonate directly from inside the walls, unsettlingly close, as if someone or something was trapped only inches away. This mysterious sound occurred precisely at 3:17 a.m., a detail that added an almost supernatural quality to the experience. Initially, it seemed like a figment of his imagination, a product of an overactive mind in the darkness of night. Brushing off the noise as mere creaks of an old house settling into the cold, he assured himself there was nothing to fear. Yet, as the pattern persisted night after night, it became impossible to dismiss. The methodical cadence of the knocks didn't waver. Their occurrence at the exact same time each night suggested a deliberate cause, and the man began to feel a chill of unease creeping into his everyday life. The significance of these events began to weigh heavily on him. This disturbance seemed more than a simple structural issue. There was an air of something uncanny, something not easily explained by science or reason. A friend speculated that it could be the work of an animal trapped within the walls, a practical, albeit unnerving possibility. But as the nights wore on, the knocking began to feel more personal, as if the unseen visitor was attempting to communicate or warn him of something sinister. In an attempt to solve this perplexing mystery, the man consulted a local expert in paranormal activities. While some might scoff at such measures, the expert insisted that the time of occurrence held significance. citing phenomena often associated with the so-called witching hour, when spooky happenings are said to be most potent. The suggestion was unsettling, pushing the man to confront an irrational fear. Was this a haunting? Of course, not all agreed. Some believed the knocking might be a sign of plumbing issues or expansion and contraction of materials in fluctuating temperatures. Regardless, this relentless occurrence left an indelible impression, intertwining with the man's daily reality, and setting the stage for deeper inquiry into the unseen forces that might inhabit our very homes. His initial encounter with the knocking was just the start of a journey that would push him to explore the thin veil between reason and the unexplained. The eerie story of a man who heard knocking inside his walls every night at precisely 3:17 a.m. took a significant turn when he decided to investigate the unsettling sounds further. At first, he tried to ignore the nightly occurrence, attributing it to the creaking of an old house or the antics of nocturnal animals. However, the unnerving regularity and persistence of the knocks eventually compelled him to act. With a growing sense of unease, he embarked on a mission to uncover the source of the mysterious sounds. Understanding the significance of the knocking was crucial. It wasn't only the timing that was peculiar, but also the uncanny precision of its appearance at the same time each night. This strange phenomenon seemed to defy natural explanations, gradually shifting his initial skepticism towards a blend of curiosity and concern. He began with a straightforward approach, meticulously checking for any obvious causes. Rodents and pests were his first suspects, so he contacted a pest control service. Yet, despite the professional inspection, any evidence of infestation remained elusive, leaving him without answers. Not willing to give up, he took a more technical route. He installed audio recording devices and motion detector cameras, hoping to capture any anomaly that could be responsible for the knocking. When he reviewed the recordings, the results were chilling, but inconclusive. The tapes indeed captured the knocks with an uncanny clarity, yet they failed to reveal any visible source. This perplexing outcome only deepened the mystery and fueled his determination to solve it. Colleagues and friends weighed in, offering opinions that leaned towards supernatural theories, suggesting restless spirits or entities seeking attention at the witching hour of 3 a.m., infamous for paranormal activities. Despite his initial resistance to such notions, the lack of a logical explanation slowly nudged him towards considering possibilities he would have otherwise dismissed. Experts in unexplained phenomena, intrigued by his harrowing tale, suggested that the house might be home to some form of residual energy, or even a time-looped event leading to the repetition of sounds. As he delved deeper into the history of the house, he uncovered reports of a previous occupant, whose untimely death and unsolved circumstances seemed to bear an eerie connection to the nightly disruption. Coupled with the consistent knocking, this revelation only heightened the possibility of otherworldly influences at play. Nevertheless, despite the mounting evidence and diverse viewpoints, a definitive explanation remained out of reach. His persistent investigation not only speaks of a personal quest for peace, but also illustrates a broader narrative touching on the human tendency to seek understanding in the face of the inexplicable. When the man first began hearing the mysterious knocking inside his walls, always precisely at 3:17 a.m., he was understandably perplexed. Initially, he brushed it off as the creaking of an old house settling at night, or perhaps the hurried scratches of small nocturnal creatures. However, as the knocking persisted, night after night, these simple explanations began to lose their plausibility. To understand what might be causing this nightly disturbance, the man embarked on a quest for answers, fueled by curiosity and a growing sense of unease. One of the earliest theories was that the knocking was caused by environmental changes. A neighbor speculated that perhaps the shifting of pipes due to temperature changes might be responsible. However, this didn't fully account for the regularity and timing of the noises. To rule this out, the man conducted a series of tests, adjusting the thermostat and observing the noise's behavior, only to find no change whatsoever in the pattern. Friends offered other explanations, such as settling wood beams or air pressure variations, but these also fell apart under scrutiny. Some suggested pests, like raccoons or rodents, might be trapped in the walls. This theory seemed plausible enough, leading him to a pest control company. Yet, despite extensive inspections, no evidence of such critters was found, leaving him with more questions than answers. Then, more chilling possibilities were floated in conversations or during late-night internet query spirals. Could it be paranormal activity? An old urban legend told of a haunted house in the neighborhood, its restless spirits never at peace. For a moment the man considered this, if only to find comfort in having an explanation, no matter how terrifying. Yet, his rational mind sought more concrete answers. As the search continued, it became apparent that there were risks of misunderstandings while grappling with the unknown. Alternative viewpoints from skeptics argued that it was all a figment of an overactive imagination, or perhaps stress manifesting in peculiar ways. These interpretations, while logical, didn't fully explain the phenomena experienced consistently and distinctly each night. This exploration to uncover the origins of the knocking connected the man with broader themes of curiosity and fear of the unexplained. The need to understand, to shine light into the dark corners of mystery, mirrored humanity's relentless pursuit of truth. Though early theories and misunderstandings did not entirely solve the problem, they set a foundation for deeper investigation, teaching him that sometimes the journey to discover can be as significant as the resolution itself. Follow and subscribe for more scary stories if you are brave enough. What kind of stories keep you up all night?